Hello, everybody, and welcome to the channel, and welcome to the first episode of this series as part of my channel, which I've called My Heart, Your Voice. As a parent of two autistic teens, this series will hear stories from other parents with special needs children and those undergoing special circumstances. And hopefully, we'll share some lessons with you, lessons we've learned sometimes the hard way and just along the way, along the journey. And I hope this strikes a common chord amongst a lot of you. So let's go hear them stories. I'm Robert Franco. Let's talk. Let's listen. Let's learn from each other. Let's go. Hello again, and in this episode I will be talking to Sarah, a mother of two boys, one of whom, Tommy, he's called, was diagnosed with autism at the age of 3. Good evening, Sarah, and thank you for agreeing to talk to me today.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, well, pleasure. So I work with Sarah in the same critical care unit here in the South, and I'm sure you wouldn't mind me saying you had to take some time to get your head around it and sort out and do what's best for Tommy and yourself and your family, I imagine. So I suppose the best way to start is go back to the day, the day you found out when he first got diagnosed. Talk to me about the emotions and what it was like when you finally heard the diagnosis.
It's hard to put a feeling on the diagnosis, I guess, because I noticed Tommy was different probably from the age of about 12 months. I noticed he was different. Around 18 months I was adamant he was autistic. And then it was quite difficult because no one else could see what I was seeing. So everyone was saying, "Oh, he's just a boy, he's just a busy boy, there's nothing wrong with him." Yeah, he was completely against me getting any help for him. It was quite stressful up till then. So when I did finally get the diagnosis, it was more of a relief for me because I wasn't going mad like someone else was seeing what I was seeing, and I was finally going to get, the help that he needed and the help that I needed to support him. But then, on the other hand, it was almost like a grieving process, I guess, because I know it sounds a bit dramatic, but you expected a different life than what you were going to have for him. So I found that quite difficult as well. So it was a mixture of emotions, to be honest. It wasn't just one particular feeling.
So when you said you were seeing things, what was making you think he's different? What were those things?
I had two friends that had babies at the same time as me.
Right.
So obviously it was my first child. You don't really know what to expect.
Yeah.
But they were literally born within months of each other. And my boy wasn't making eye contact, he wasn't responding to his name, and from the moment he could move, he was just escaping everywhere. He was just always trying to escape. And then I had my second boy, Cody, so Tommy was about 18 months, and it was just a lot of manic behaviours. And then by then I was just adamant. He was always jumping over things, climbing things, he never stopped, never responded to his name, never made a lot of eye contact with me, wasn't talking or babbling. It just became more apparent to me, but other people didn't really want to see it.
They didn't want to hear it.
No, and he didn't want to face up to it really then. But Tommy didn't get diagnosed until he was 3.5. So by that time, it did become more obvious to everyone else. So it was just a mixture, really.
Thank you for sharing that. I can definitely relate to that, especially the denial bit.
Yeah.
Because it's bad enough, you have one child diagnosed with it. When it came to Isla, as I've mentioned at the outset, I've got two. So when it came to Isla, it was very hard,
I didn't know you had another. I thought I wasn't aware your daughter was.
So you go through that process of denial. Yeah. And like you said, a grieving process. A grieving process that hasn't really stopped or hasn't really, because you think about what the could have beens, And, so I can definitely relate to that process of denial where you think, shit, not again,
Yeah.
Not again. And we hear the word overwhelming bandied around a lot. It must be overwhelming for you. It's a term you hear a lot from people. they say to you often with overdubs of sympathy and kindness.
Yeah.
Is that how you felt? Would you say you felt overwhelmed at the beginning?
Yeah, absolutely. It's because you don't know what your future's going to look like. You don't know, I don't know, at the time I didn't know if he was going to speak, if he was going to be in my care forever, if he was going to go to school, like if he's needed SEND provision. You don't know if they're going to have friends, be bullied. Yeah. It's just, there's so many thoughts going through your head, isn't there?
Yeah.
And yeah, it's overwhelming. You don't know what you're going to do, how we're going to deal with it.
You worry about, when we're not here, when we're gone.
Exactly.
How they, those emotions. Yeah, who's going to look after them? But luckily, to a certain extent, we are in a country where, while the system is not perfect, it's there. There is help to be had. It's not always as quick as you want it to be, but
no.
But it's there.
Yeah,
I mean, there are other places in the world that are far worse off. So, certain extent, you count your blessings to a certain extent.
Yeah.
So, Tommy was diagnosed. Your life was turned around. Tell me about some of the biggest adjustments, the adaptations you had to do with your house, with your life, just with everything.
I think work was probably my first. Like you said, I had to take some time off. When Tommy was, I'm trying to think, Cody was just born, so I took a year of I took a year of mat leave when I had Cody, and then I came back, and that's when Tommy's childminder had said they couldn't accommodate his needs anymore. So basically he had to go, and I had no care for him. So obviously I took some time off of work because I knew I was putting him through for his diagnosis. So I took a year off to sort of get my head around it, get his head around it, and try and find him a new school to go to, which took a while because I was struggling to find a place that would have him or that he could cope with.
Yeah.
When I went back to work, it was on reduced hours, which wasn't what I planned. I'd obviously wanted to do my top-up degree as well because I'd only done.
And you did a lot of training as well to get to that level, didn't you?
I was pregnant with Tommy when I did my training, so I took a year out to start with, and then I went back, and then I fell pregnant with Cody. So I got through there. My plan was always to go on and do my Band 5 training, but it never progressed to that. But that's just the path my life took.
Yeah.
So that was one thing in itself. And now I'd work very little hours, as you know, 1 day a week, because I don't have the care for him. He doesn't have full-time education. He's in from 9 till 1 throughout the week. And
Is that Monday to Friday? 9 to 1?
Which I'm lucky for, but I don't know if that's ever going to progress. At the moment, it was supposed to be quite a short progress, they said. It was the first couple of terms.
How old is he?
He's 5.
Okay.
So he's in reception at school.
Yeah.
So work-wise, home-wise, locks everywhere.
Yeah.
From the minute Tommy could get out of his cot, we had to put a stair gate on, and then we had to put one on the stairs, and then we had to put one at the bottom of the stairs, and one on the kitchen. And then you had to climb over them. So we had to get dog stair gates for the extra tall ones. We had all them around the house.
And then he gets taller every month.
He just climbed. He could just climb over them straight away. So we have bolt locks on top of all the doors. We have to lock our doors. We have to lock our windows upstairs. We have to hide keys because he can find them, open them, and get out.
The door.
And he would. He's got no danger awareness. He'd just go. He'd run out in front of a car. He can climb our fence.
Yeah.
So it's just always being aware.
So do you get DLA?
We get disability living allowance, which I'm really grateful for because he gets a decent amount for that. I can get carer's allowance because he gets high rate DLA, which means I can get carer's allowance as well. So supported financially, it does really help. So I can take that step back from work and not worry too much because that support's there, and it helps him, with extra sessions or whatever I can get him into and SEND activities, which isn't a lot of, but some places do SEND. Yeah,
they do, and they also, when he gets to school, there's some Saturday groups.
Yeah.
There's MenCap. Have you explored that?
No, I haven't.
So there's a MenCap centre in Portwood, so that's something that you can look at.
Yeah.
And again, I can relate massively to the adjustments and the adaptations to your life, basically, where who needs sleep, Isaac is a really bad sleeper.
Is he?
I always say, we haven't really had any decent sleep for more than a decade. And then surprisingly, your body gets used to it. And like you said, when you have a child, you dream for that child. You dream big. And now we're talking about it. I always envisaged Isaac to play play instruments, get him to a good university. And I was shooting for the stars. In my head, I was thinking Oxford. I was thinking Cambridge. And I thought, why not? If you're going to dream big. Shoot for as they say, shoot for the stars. And if you hit the moon, you're okay. You're not. It's not too bad. So, yeah. So, but like you said, it's the path our life has taken us.
Yeah.
And we're still on the path. We're still on the journey. So. Talking of which, tell me about a day in the life of the house of Sarah, mother of 2, one with autism. What does it look like and what does it sound like?
Loud.
Yeah.
Loud. It's manic. It's busy. It's hard work, to be honest. It's really hard work.
Mm-hmm.
But we live off routines. Routine is extremely important to Tommy. And if I go against that, then I will deal with some manic behaviour.
Yeah.
And it's being consistent with that routine with him. We have lots of visuals for him, what he's supposed to do with his day.
Yeah.
Routes, I have to take the same routes to school.
Really?
If I go a different route, it's not like he'll have an instant meltdown, but it will just be another build up. Build up. So I just try and make his day as calm as I can. We go the same route. He'll have his day at school. He often wants me to take him to Millbrook Towers and Redbridge Towers.
Right.
He's obsessed with it.
Mm-hmm.
So I have to go the same route there. And he'll have a good look. He's got a little Minecraft city on his Switch that he's built. It's really, really incredible, really, what he can do. He has the same sort of food groups.
Yeah.
He'll eat the same sort of 5 meals.
Yeah.
He has to have the same plate, same fork and knife that
Really?
he eats every day. Everything's has to be how it should be, and
Right.
you can't cope.
Does he have the same breakfast every day?
He'll alternate it. He'll change it, but he'll stick to that same breakfast for a long time. So
Yeah.
at the moment, it's a cheesy muffin, which he
Okay.
absolutely loves. It's basically a McDonald's McMuffin meal.
Yeah, but you make it yourself.
Yeah.
Not Sarah's.
Yeah. And he has that every morning.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So Isaac has the same 2 rice puddings, yogurt, jelly, a jam tart, a glass of milk, for as long as I can remember. He used to have toast and bananas,
Yeah.
and then for some reason he didn't like the texture anymore. For him, it's a lot more textural. Isla, I'm going to say she eats a bit more varied, but she only eats spaghetti, no other pasta. You give her penny, give her carbonara or any other pasta, give her rice. She acts as if you're making her eat poison. No,
Is it the smell, the texture?
Texture, everything. So yeah.
It's funny, isn't it? Tommy would only eat spaghetti. He won't eat normal pasta, only spaghetti.
Right. So Isaac will eat any sort of pasta. Isla will only eat spaghetti. And it has to be 2 spaghettis. It can't be a tag. It should be carbonara and spaghetti bolognese, or in a tomato sauce base.
Yeah.
So to a certain extent, it's easy to feed them, but also you want them to try other things, but that's just not going to happen.
No.
So do you give them vitamins? Do you give him vitamins? I give him vitamins.
Yeah, I give
both of them. So
Vitamix, I think it is,
Yeah.
a Nutrigen one. It's a tasteless one that I sprinkle over.
Okay.
Cody's got a very good diet. I don't worry about him. He eats veg and fruit.
Yeah.
He loves it. He loves to eat healthy. So I have no concerns of him, but Tommy's very limited. So yeah, I give him
And Cody's okay. And you know what I mean when I say
I'm not
okay.
sure, to be honest.
Okay.
We are on the fence with him. He has lots of built up anger, and he gets very manic and overstimulated when we're out. So we're not quite sure yet, but it hasn't affected his ability to make friends or to communicate with me. So we're just sort of sitting and waiting.
Maybe he is just being.
Might
how
be
old
like
is he?
behaviour. He's only 4.
4.
But he has a temper.
Okay.
A very big temper.
Well, all the best. All the best.
Yeah.
I always say. So there's one thing I always say to Vicky, my other half, that we can't miss something that we've never had. You know, I've never taken Isaac to a football game on a Sunday. You know, I've never, Isla's never had a sleepover. So Isaac's 15 now, and had my situation been different, I would have loved to have taken him to concerts, gigs, listened to some of my favorite acts like Pearl Jam, John Mayer, to a certain extent, Rage Against the Machine, and see what he thinks of it.
Yeah.
And I think, had he been growing up as a normal child, I would have slowly introduced that anyway. He'd be forced to listen to it, if you like. And Isla, at this age, she's now 13, I hear similar ages having sleepovers, their friends coming over, and I would have loved to cook dinner for them and just tease them and, normal stuff that normal parents do with their normal, I say normals, neurotypical children.
Yeah.
I can't miss that because I've never had it. But what it is we've missed out. We've missed out on these experiences. We've had to be creative and think of making our own experiences. Like you said, you had to devise a way around, driving around and all that. Do you recognize the sentiment? What did you have to do?
Well, yeah, I totally get where you're coming from, and it's sad, isn't it? It's sad that you can't do what everyone else does, and when you go out, and mine is Facebook. When I see in the holidays people at Christmas time and Halloween and stuff all going out and having fun and enjoying family time, I struggle then, because although my children love that kind of thing, they can't cope. Well, my children, I say Tommy mainly, he can't cope the environment, and that's
Christmas markets.
Yeah, he can't cope with too much noise, busy environments. It just causes him to go manic. So yeah, we often miss that. We can't go out for a family meal. We can't have the normal family day out that you see everyone else having. And if we do, it's not.
Have you tried?
Yeah, we do. We often try. The latest one we did was the fun fair. It's not the fun fair. It was the pier. I'm trying to think, Portsmouth. I can't remember what the pier's called. Clarence Pier, is it?
Probably, the one in Portsmouth.
Yeah. We took him there, and he absolutely loved it. But it became too much for him. Then he got manic, and then he had a meltdown, and it ruined his whole day, probably the rest of the week, to be fair. Or him coming down from that meltdown. And it's sad because we want to enjoy the same as other people. I do take him to SEND groups throughout the holidays, but it's not a lot that's on. I'll normally find out where's doing what, and I'll book it all in for him at the beginning, so we can still go out and enjoy things. But I don't know what our future looks like yet. He's still very young. I don't know what he's gonna be able to do and what he's not gonna be able to do. But
is it verbal?
He's getting there. Yeah, he's starting to speak. He can communicate, but he uses a lot of echolalia as well. So he'll use like phrases that he hears and puts them into conversation. And he's very much simple questions, simple one-word answers. Unlike his brother, who doesn't stop talking.
No. And to a certain extent as well, when that happens, say, you took Tommy out and then he has that meltdown, for want of a better word, because that's what it is, It then, you stop enjoying whatever it is you're doing.
Yeah.
You have to leave.
And I get anxious, very anxious.
Yeah. I know a lot of people don't mean to do it. You get the looks.
The stairs.
The stairs. And to me, that's never affected me.
No,
I've always believed I had a strong enough personality, and I think that people can see that too, because I've never had the stairs. And in fact, there was one time when Isaac had this massive meltdown in Westquay, that I just had to sit with him in a corner while he was doing that. There was nothing I can do.
No.
It's not like I can lift him up and, and I sat there, and you could just see, a lot of people actually were very sympathetic and were like, are you okay? Are you okay? And that makes it worse for me. Stop asking me. I'm okay. I'll be all right. You just leave me. Just carry on walking.
That's it.
And they're being helpful and they're being sympathetic. But sometimes it just makes it worse.
Yeah, you don't
agree?
Want it. Yeah,
you agree.
You don't want it because they can't help. They can't do anything, and and you can't even help at the time. You just got to come through it and wait for it to pass.
But equally, he does some epic stuff. Like you remember one of our band sevens left, Mandy.
Yeah.
So I was in this shop wanting to get her a gin glass. So I was in Portsmouth. I don't know if you know the shop, Villeroy and Bock.
No.
So it was basically a shop where you bought, glasses and wine glasses. Quite, pricey stuff. But I just wanted to get her a nice gin glass. And Isaac was stood in front of this shelf, this glass shelf. And he did his flapping.
Oh. I can imagine what happened next.
Whole
Oh my goodness.
3 shelves crashed down.
What did they say?
Must have been about £300 worth of glasses. But you know what
Wow.
they said? They said, don't worry about it. It's okay. Are you guys okay?
Oh.
They wanted to have a look at Isaac's hands to see if he broke anything or like cut himself. And they were like, don't worry about it. I was like, I'm sorry. I'm really so apologetic. And they said, no, it's okay. It's okay. They said they'll just put it into like wastage because they have like a 10% wastage because of breakages and all that. And they were so gracious and
That's really
yeah,
nice.
they're really good. And then M&S was the same. Hey Jen, I lost him for a bit. He had muddy shoes, and guess which? Where they display the beds and the mattresses
yeah.
and all that. With the duvet and the duvet cover. Guess what color the bed linen was?
Cream.
White.
Oh, even worse.
So he had all smudges up all across again, but they were very gracious. I just had to explain he's autistic and all, and they were like, "That's
Yeah.
fine, that's fine." And I think as long as people know,
It is making people aware, isn't it?
making people aware. So we talked about all those challenges, all the adjustments. Would you change anything? Is there anything you'd change?
What about him or about
About
my
him,
life?
about everything.
To be honest, look, I know a lot of people are like, I don't know, it's hard to explain. I wouldn't like to change him. He is, to me, like, he has got a great personality. He has humour. I can joke with him. There is still things about him that's developing. I wish he could express himself to me more so I could help him more. I would like to think I could change society more and make it more inclusive for him, because that's my struggle, is inclusiveness.
Is that how you feel?
Yeah, because, for example, like this week I can't take him on a school trip, and because I can't take him, he can't go, and I think his whole school's going, and it's just not inclusive. Like, it's stuff like that gets me, and I find really hard. All the opportunities that he's going to miss out on. You can't go to after school club, you can't go to a holiday club, you can't do any of these things because they can't facilitate him.
And you still don't want to change anything?
What, for him?
For him, for the whole scenario, the whole situation, because I would in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
If there was a magic spell that would change everything. I know there's struggles with whether you raise a neurotypical child or someone with autism like him. But I'd want him to experience what you were just talking about.
Yeah.
I'd want him to go to a concert. I'd want him to have his first girlfriend, his first kiss, have his friends over, play football. So yes, I would. If someone said, I could change it, would you like me to? I would like
him,
in a heartbeat.
Yeah, I get that. For me, I just don't know what life's going to look like yet. I don't know. I don't know what struggles we're going to have, and I'm not quite sure what it's going to be for him yet. He's hard work. He also has incredible gifts as well. He's got like a photographic memory, and he can go out and look at something and go home and draw it.
So he can't lie.
No, he doesn't lie. He's very honest.
No, you can't. You can't make promises.
No, I can't. No.
That you can't keep. Yeah.
I can't. So yeah, he's and he's a great drawer. He's great at art. He's fantastic on a computer. Like, he's got different skills. He's not very good at communication. He's not very good socially. He doesn't have any friends. Yeah. Which I find sad.
Well, some people they don't need to have that diagnosis to have all that.
Yeah. Yeah, well, there you go. And, my idea of happiness might look different to his. Yeah. So, I might look at life and think I want loads of friends and I want to be busy doing things, and his idea of happiness is on his Switch, drawing and painting. He's happy. It's hard, but I completely get what you're saying about changing. Yeah. Yeah. It's
I suppose it's just like I said, when you miss out on things, you start thinking about what could have been, And I know parents with neurotypical or normal teenagers, as you would call them, they also have their struggles.
Yeah.
You know, they go through teenage angst and all that. I hear all about it, as we hear all about it from our friends. And sometimes you do think, do I prefer that or do I prefer what I've got? You don't know. And I always also think someone is actually worse off than I am.
Yeah.
You know, you have your problems, we have our struggles, you have yours, I have mine. And then you hear about a story about, you know, children with special needs and just, you know, the extreme end of it, and you can't help but feel sorry.
Yeah.
At the same time, feel a little bit luckier.
That's it. You know, like my son has his health, which I'm forever grateful for. And that's it. Happy and healthy, but it's hard. It's really hard.
Yeah, it is. It is. So, to me, what we've talked about, the situation we're in, and the situation that we probably will find ourselves in, is a constant period of self-discovery. I've never known I could be this patient, and dare I say the word resilient. And how my body can tolerate so little sleep after a long day, and then you have to look after them for a long day as well. Same with Vicky, not just me. And, you know, sometimes you surprise yourself.
Yeah.
What have you learned about yourself, and in the process of learning that, made you a better mother, or, you know, a more understanding mother? What is the one thing that you learned about yourself?
I have more patience, like you said, than I ever could imagine I could have. And it's resilience, isn't it? You don't sleep a lot. I don't get a lot of sleep either. Tommy's never been a great sleeper. He likes to wake up in the night and raid all the cupboards and try and make pancakes and turn the oven on, etc. So you have to be on your toes at night. So sometimes you go through weeks of no sleep. And it's hard, but I've learned I've got a lot of patience, and I have a lot of understanding for him, and I have a lot of time for him. But I suppose your child, you're going to give everything that you've got to them to make them the best of their ability, aren't you?
Even though you're half asleep.
Half asleep, yeah. Especially if you do a night and then you're awake all day and all night, and then off all night the next night. And how you cope, how you get through it, I don't know. But he's given me confidence as well, confidence to speak up for him. And do whatever needs to be done for him, and fight for him, because he can't
you're
fight
his
himself.
voice.
Yeah,
that's what you are. Well, pretty good. So, again, another term that I get to hear a lot is it's a journey. You know, understanding your journey, and I think it's a whirlwind of a journey, and inevitably you pick up new skills, you learn. So if there was ever one piece of advice, a bit of wisdom you learned through the years that you could give to those finding themselves in a similar situation, what would it be?
You're not alone, because there are so many other families out there having exactly the same struggles as you. And I think when you're in it, you feel like it's just you, because all your friends and family around you have completely what is like normal lives, isn't it? And yours is so different. And you're not. I'd say support groups are a massive help to me. I go on online Facebook groups, support groups there, looking around like your local charities and stuff to see what people can help you with and support you with along the way.
And hopefully us talking about it will
definitely
help some people to, come forward with your stories. And if you, by the way, like what we're doing here and you like what we're hearing, subscribe to my channel, and I promise you I will endeavor to create more content like this for you. To me, I suppose what I would say is that you probably don't know how strong you really are until the only choice you have is be strong.
Absolutely.
You don't know, like I said, you don't realize, when I talked about self-discovery, you don't realize how, 20 years ago, do you know how strong? You think you are made of stern stuff until you get put in this situation. So what I would say is, carry on. You're not alone, and you are stronger than you think. Well, is there any other thing that you'd like to share in terms of Tommy and your journey? Because it's been an absolute pleasure.
Yeah, well, it's just still going, isn't it? It's always changing every day, and we're just seeing what's going to happen next, really. It's a journey.
We're going to have to see what happens next.
Yeah.
And thank you very much, Sarah, for joining me today. Thank you very much for agreeing to talk to me and gracing us with your presence and your experiences. It's been an absolute joy to listen. And that concludes this episode. So once again, you've been watching the first episode of this series called My Heart, Your Voice. Speak soon, and I'll see you in the next video.